Okay, so back to this one. How many solutions or ordered pairs can you come up with for this kind of equation? X plus y equals 4. So you can just sit here and make it up. If x is 0, then y has to be 4. If I put a 1 there, if x is 1, 1 plus what makes 4? It has to be 3. If I put a 2, it's 2 and 2. If I put a 3, if x is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, what if I put 4? X is 4, then y is 0. So all of those will work. Those are positive ones. Now if we can try some negatives. If I had a negative 1 there, it has to be, y would have to be 5. If I had a negative 2 there, y would have to be 6, and so on and so on. So now we can just graph some. 0, 4. 0, 4 is the first one, 0, 4. 1, 3 over 1 up 1, 2, 3. Over 2, 2. Over 2 up 2. Over 3 up 1, and so on and so on. So I love it when I get a x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay, nice and simple. And if I kept going, we could come up with an infinite number of solutions that would make that true in this equation. As crazy as it sounds. Just keep finding combinations of 4 or differences of 4. Okay? What is the linear equation in slope-intercept form of this line? All right, so that's interesting. We have, this is actually written in standard form. And to undo standard form, we want to solve for y. Get y alone. Okay, to undo, this is standard form. We want to make it y equals mx plus b form. So in order to get y alone, what do? We move the x. So we go minus x to the other side. Goes away there. Y will equal a negative x plus 4. I just slide the x up. This is slope-intercept form. This is that form. My m here is negative 1, and my b is positive 4. And if we look at our graph, crosses at the y-intercept at 4, the slope is negative. What's it doing? Down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. There's your negative 1 slope. So, I've drilled into your head the y equals mx plus b way. This is the easiest way to handle an equation. Sometimes you will get it like this. If it's easy to rearrange the equation and set it up into this form, make sure you follow the proper rules of algebra. With your negative x, move it over, etc., and rewrite your equation. It's the same equation, just it looks differently. Alrighty, moving on. This is allegedly the homework, but I'm going to do it with you. So, determine at least 3 solutions to graph the following linear equations. These equations are written in standard form. I'm never crazy about standard form when I can switch it. So the way I would do this, personally, is to switch this around. Or not. You could sit here and make up values for it and try to, solve for what this would be. It can get tricky because you have to find, numbers that are going to work sometimes in your head, that kind of thing, to make them work. So it's not always as easy. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. I missed one. I just realized I missed the back of this page. All right, let's go back to that. I'm sure you already noticed that. Okay, x minus y equals 7. So again, x minus y equals 7. How in the world do we do that one? If I make my column of values, x and y. Well, let's think. If I start off with x being 7, if x is 7, y has to be 0, because 7 minus 0 makes 7. If x is 8, right, I can go up. If x is 8, y better be 1, because 8 minus 1 makes 7. If x is 9, then that has to be 2, 9 minus 2, right? What if I went backwards? What if I said x was 4? So if x is 4. 4 minus y equals 7. If I bring the 4 over, minus 4, I get negative y equals 3. So then I have to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. So I get y equals negative 3. Negative 3, which would make sense. So you get that double negative to make them add and make 7. Okay, that's enough points. So 7, 0, 7, 0. Okay, so now this is the x-intercept. 7, 0 means I go to 7 right there, boom. Right? If I keep going, 8, 1, 8, 1 over 8 up 1. It's actually off the graph. Over 9 up 2 would be there. So I'll do over 4 down 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, we missed the line. Okay, so I think I have enough to make a line. All right. What is the linear equation in slope-intercept form for the line that you just graphed? So I'm going to go back to the x minus y equals 7. And now I want to rearrange this to get y alone. So I'm going to move the x. Move the x as a negative x, right? Because it was moved by the opposite. Don't forget, it's a negative y equals. So now I have negative x plus 7. My next step, it's a negative 1y, so I'm going to divide by negative 1. That'll make it positive. Divide by negative 1. I have to divide everybody by that same number. So gone. So my final answer is y equals negative divided by negative makes positive x minus 7. Okay? Your m here is a 1. Your slope is 1. And your b is negative 7. Look at your picture. The b is negative 7. And what did the slope do? Over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over all the way. So, a couple of ways of looking at this. Okay. Now we go to the next one. Sorry. 3x plus y equals 6. To me, the easiest thing to do here is bring the 3x over to the other side. Convert this. Right? Or there's another way. The other way, and I'm going to show you how this is what we would call get. Okay? This is get the axis intercepts. In other words, the x and y intercepts. Now, let me show you what that means. Okay, so if I make a table here of the x and y, we got x, we got y. If I make the first value, if x is 0, x is 0, so I'm trying to find the y-intercept. If x is 0, put x 0 in there. 3 times 0 makes that 0. So then y has to be 6. Got it? And that's the y-intercept. Now let's switch places. What if I made the y 0? I said, oh, I'm going to make y 0. So 3x plus 0 equals 6. What does x have to be? 3x equals 6, so x has to be 2. Now, watch what I show you here. Oh, no, wait. Okay. So now, all I have to do is go to my graph. First off, I got to fix my line here. I fix the 2 again. 2. And down here, I don't know why the graphics do this to all these graphs, but they do. Love technology. Not. Okay. So I'm going to graph what this is called the intercepts. 0, 6. 0, 6 means you go up here. Don't go, 0 means go no place left or right, just go up to 6. 2, 0 means go over to 2 and don't go up or down. There you go. Isn't that enough to make a line? Yes, it is. Okay. Got it? Now I'm going to take this equation, 3x plus y equals 6, and I'm going to write it in slope-intercept form. That means get y alone. So I go minus 3x, minus 3x. So I get y equals negative 3x plus 6. What's your m here? Negative 3 over 1. What's your b? Positive 6. Start at 6. Start at 6. Go back to my graph. My slope is negative. It's running down. Rise, meaning go down. 1, 2, 3. There's your negative 3 over 1. It works. 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. Perfect. Okay? Graphing it either way is acceptable. All right, let's try this next one. X and Y. So I'm making my chart, X, Y. And if I start off with, if I decide, if X is 0, can I determine what the Y will be? So 0 minus Y equals negative 8. So negative Y equals negative 8. Divide by the negative 1, the imaginary negative 1. So Y equals positive 8. So when X is 0, Y has to be positive 8. Now I'm going to put a 0 on the Y part. X minus 0 equals negative 8. Well, this is gone. You can't minus 0. So then it's X equals what? Negative 8. These are called the axis intercepts. X and Y intercepts. 0, 8. 0, 8 means we're right in the middle and go up to 8. Negative 8 is 0. Means go negative 8 and don't go anywhere. Isn't that interesting? Okay, take the same equation down here. X minus Y equals negative 8. Now I'm going to solve for Y. It's going to move X. Move the X as a negative X. So I get negative Y equals negative X minus 8. So I'm just moving it up. Now remember, this is a negative 1, so I have to divide by negative 1 and divide everything by negative 1. That just changes the signs when you divide by negative 1. So Y equals, negative over negative makes positive X. Negative over negative here makes positive 8. Okay? So let's look at our slope. Our M here is a positive 1, right? The slope is 1 over 1. And the B is, it crosses at 8. So I go up to 8. Yes, it crossed at 8. Is this slope a positive slope of 1? Yeah. Down 1 over 1. Or vice versa. However you want to look at it. There's your slope. Positive 1 over 1 over 1 over 1, so on. Okay? So the bottom is fine. We did by points by doing them up there. And they do work. All right, or like you can just pick a point out of here and make sure it works in the equation. I think you got it. All right, let's try the next page. There's a lot of these. Determine at least 3 solutions to graph the following linear equations. Okay, so they want 3 solutions of this. X and Y. All right, I'm going to start off here. If X is 0, so if I put a 0 in there, mental math, 5 times Y equals 0. So to make it equal 0, Y would have to be 5 times what? Has to be 0. Right? If let me think about this one. What's the easiest way to do this one? I should make that page 1, homework 1, 2. Okay, I think we are on the right page. Okay. Okay, sorry guys, I had a brain stall on my own behalf here. All right, this is an interesting one. I start off, okay, if X is 0, then 0 plus 5Y equals 0. So 0 plus 5Y equals 0. So 5Y equals 0. So Y has to be 0. Makes sense, right? Okay, let's try another one. So if I said X was 5, let's throw 5 in there. 5 plus 5Y equals 0. Now I'm going to solve for Y here, so I'm going to move the 5, right, over as a negative 5. So I get 5Y equals negative 5. Divide by 5, divide by 5, Y equals negative 1. So Y would be negative 1. Now let's change it up a little bit and make Y 0. So if Y is 0, I throw a 0 in here, right? So then I get X plus 0 equals 0. So X has to equal, to make 0, X is going to be 0. So it's 0, 0 again. So ironically, this goes through the origin. It's the only way it's crossing the X and Y axis is the same spot. It's 0, 0. And we have 1.5, negative 1. So let's give it a shot. We got 0, 0. And we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1. Right? Get my handy dandy ruler. And there we go. So from each one, put them in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to do this one. X plus, can you see? X plus 5Y equals 0. So I want to solve, this was what this means, solve for Y. Get Y alone. So I got to move the X. Move the X, right? That goes, I get 5Y equals negative X. Y is still not alone. Divide by 5. Divide by 5, that's interesting. Y will equal, this is really negative 1/5. There's a really imaginary 1 there, times X. So my B here is 0, right? There's no B. But my M, my slope, is negative 1/5. Let's check. B is 0, going through 0, 0. Look at my slope. is negative downhill. This line is going downhill. 1/5. This is the rise, this is the run. So I go down 1 and run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bingo. Got it. Okay? So it is working. It's just a little more complex, as we would say. Okay, for this one. What values am I going to pick for x that would make sense for this crazy equation? Personally, I would pick values that are divisible by 4. But first, the best one is 0. So I'm going to do 0 first. Okay, so x and y. Let's make x 0. If x goes 0 here, then y equals 1. Got it? Now we're going to do the other way around. If I make y 0, if I put a 0 in there and figure out what x is, okay, I need a little room to work here, so I'm going to put it on the side. Can you see? I got 1/4 times x plus 0 equals 1. Okay, so it's 1/4 of x equals 1. Means I'm dividing by 1/4, but if I'm dividing by 1/4, think about fractions. I'm really multiplying by 4. So x equals, if I flip this, it's 4 over 1 times 1 makes 4. So x has to be 4. Oops. Okay? So I technically have two points that I can easily graph. All right? Or we can do, maybe we can jump here and do an 8. Make x 8. 1/4 of 8 plus y equals 1. Well, 1/4 of 8 is really 2, right? Because I can divide. I get 2 plus y equals 1. So subtract the 2. So I get y would have to be -1. So if I put x is 8 here, y comes out to be a -1. Okay, so let's plot these points. 0, 1. 0, 1 is right there. 4, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0 is right here. 8, -1. Well, we go to 8 and down 1. Is it staying in line? It most certainly is. If I put these two down, line them up, and it's right on the other one. Oops, there we go. There we go. Okay, so now down here it tells me to put it in slope-intercept form. So 1/4 x plus y equals 1. Let's move this over. -1/4 x, or minus 1/4 x. Goes away here, and I get y equals -1/4 x plus 1. That's my normal equation. And my m, my slope, is -1/4. And my b is a +1. So my line, if I go back and check, b should be crossing a +1. And my slope is down 1 and run 4. Bingo. It works. Okay? We got this? Now, we could check 2 points. I'll check one for this one. So let's go y equals -1/4 x plus 1. Keep it in slope-intercept form. It's my preferred way, slope-intercept form. Let's go back to this line and find a perfect dot on this line. Let's follow 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. This should be it. Okay? So that dot right there is -4, 2. So let's try, we're going to try -4, 2. Does it work in here? So if x is -4, y is 2. So my question is 2 hopefully will equal -1/4 times -4 plus 1. Okay, negative times negative is going to be positive, right? 1/4 times 4, isn't it 1? 1 plus 1 makes 2. And so it worked. Okay? Oops. Are we okay? Good? All right. I think my pages might be out of order there a minute. I don't know. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's try this one. Spiral one. These are going back for us to practice for the test. A rate for an internet access is $15 per month. $15 per month plus 25 cents per hour. Okay? Write a function rule to show the monthly bill. So the $15, that's your initial. So your B is the $15. Okay? Your slope, your M, your slope is 0.25 cents per hour. Write a function rule to show your monthly bill depends on the number of hours used. If you spend 122 hours in a month, so they want to go hours, silly the way they wrote that out, 122 hours in that month, okay? How much will the bill be? How much is it going to come? Well, first I got to come up with the equation. Based on this, okay, my cost will be, that's my Y, is the cost will be 25 cents per hour times H, right? 25 cents per hour, but they throw in a $15 fee. And now I'm going to use this equation and figure out what my bill will cost if I used it for 122 hours in the month. So my cost is 0.25 times 122 plus 15. And that's perfect calculator work. And I think it comes out to be, this is $30.50, then plus 15. Remember, this is $15, so you got to line them up. When you add $30 and $15, comes out to be, the cost is $45.50. Very straightforward. Typical question on the test. Not only this test, but the algebra regions would be similar too. Okay, next one. Do the values in this table represent a linear function? Let's check it. Top row, 0, 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. So since they're in a pattern, then this better be. 2 plus 2 makes 4. 4 plus 7. Now 2 plus 2 would get 4. 4 plus 2 should be 6. So this should be 6 here, and then that would be 8. So the answer here is no, not a function. Not a linear function. Okay, not a linear function, right? It could be a function. It's just not a linear function because it doesn't have the constant rate of change. It is not a constant rate of change. My handwriting is bad because of my arm is not comfortable. Okay, so if so, write a function rule. Nope, no function rule, so we explained it right there. All right? Is 9, negative 1 a solution to this equation? I don't know. 9 represents x, and then this would be the negative 1 would be y. The only way you know it is try it in the equation. So it would be negative 1 would equal negative 2/3 times 9 plus 5. Remember, we can cancel here. 3 goes in 3 once. How many 3s are 9? 3. So my question is, work the math over here. Negative 2 times 3 makes negative 6, right? Plus 5. I add that up. That makes negative 1. Was it supposed to make negative 1? Yes. So the answer here is yes. That point lies on that line. That point lies on that line, and it works. Okay? And that was the end of lesson 10. Okay, the next one is lesson 11.